What's up, everybody? Ian Walsh here, Hard Money Bankers. We're doing the Market Makers Show. As people have been tuning in on a weekly basis, we've had some very high-profile agents and investors on here over the past 6 months to go and talk about this crazy market. And I think today's is a very special one because I don't believe any other agent can really have the vantage point that the one and only Mike McCann has. So thanks for joining, Mike.
Oh, my pleasure. Welcome to be here.
So Mike's always, what's that?
It's been a while since we've spoken.
It has been a while, and I'm really glad. I've always loved having you for two reasons: because your energy is awesome, and because it's pretty unmatched in terms of what you know and see and do in this marketplace. Not just from your prior, agencies and so forth, or your prior brokerage, but you've been a top agent in the nation. I mean, that is something unbelievable, and because of that, this show we originally designed back in March to talk about, okay, interest rates were changing. Everything was so super hot. And then all of a sudden we were like, we should probably do a show because things are going to get rocky. And sure enough, interest rates went up. And then people were like, no, it's going to be good. It's fine. And then by midsummer, it was like, okay, things have changed. And then by like September, people were like, pull the chute. But having you is really important for not just the fact that you see a quadrillion transactions at any given year, but because you have been through these cycles. Like, this isn't your first rodeo, truly. I mean, you have been, early 90s. I remember you talking about on a prior show when it was like, so can you walk us through some of the cycles you've seen and how they compare to what we're in the middle of right now?
Sure. This is absolutely will be my fifth downturn in the market. And there's good things and bad things. There's a couple things I do want to say is you realize interest rates in 1967 were 7.5%. Yeah, like 7%. So we've had low interest rates for so long. Everyone has gotten so spoiled. And right now, I mean, that would be like when I got gas for my mini bike, it was 30 cents a gallon in 1969. It was 30 cents a gallon. So rates may have been artificially low. If you look at over the last 30 years, interest rates have been averaging 7%, over the last 40 years, averaging 8%. So we're actually in a normal market. The problem is everyone has been spoiled for the last 10 or 12 years with low interest rates. And the problem is it shifted so dramatically fast. A $750,000 house today costs you $1,600 more a month than it did 3 months ago. That's not 300, 16. That is freezing the market, especially in the city. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about. About the shift is inventory is still very, very low, especially in the suburbs. So that market is still continuing. It's slowed down, but it's not like the city. The city's been affected more so. And we're probably not going to find our bottom for about 6 to 12 months, I don't believe. So we're all in a market shift. Everybody's freaking out. Now, back up. We just came out of the best 2 years in the history of real estate. We sold 6.2 million homes last year. This year, they said, it's going to adjust about 5.8. It might end up at 5.4. It'll still be the fourth or fifth best year ever in the history of real estate. And next year, the projections is maybe 4.8 million, 4.6 million. Still up there, but that will feel dramatically different. The problem is the real estate community went from 1.1, 1.2 million to 1.6 million. So you are going to see realtors leaving the business. There's many realtors that don't know how to negotiate an inspection, don't know how to handle a property that's been on the market for more than a day or a week. So the shift is real. The shift is happening. It's going to affect all markets. My luxury condo market's probably affected more. My luxury homes are probably affected more. The one thing about the basic first-time home is someone goes to college, gets their job, rents for a couple of years, they need a house. They're going to buy that in the suburbs, that $400 to $800 $600,000 house in the city, that $300,000 to $600,000 house. That market never gets as bad as other areas. People with money right now are sitting tight. Unless it's a great deal, it's not selling. I have properties that sold in February for $2.9 million that are down to right away, that are down to $2.5 million and aren't selling. I have houses in Northern Liberty and Kensington that sold right away in March and April. Like I'm telling you, the first day on the market, the same exact house sold for $725. Then in May, it sold for $735. Then one went up in June, and now it's down to $715 with limited activity. The market has slowed down dramatically.
Where's Mike's crystal ball putting that bottom at? Like, where do you think 715 is that going to go down to 650, 625? Or
Yeah. So the reality of it is the market. I think it's going to be 6 to 12 months to find its bottom.
Yeah.
I think prices will temporarily could soften. Remember, properties go up much faster than they come down. So if I sell your home Ian for $700,000, and then your neighbor calls me up 3 months later, I'm going to get $7.25. Hey, he loves me. But if I sell yours for $700, and 3 months later your buddy calls me up and I tell him $675, he's going to be like, I'm getting another realtor. I am not listening to you, right?
Yeah.
So and the reality of it is, another realtor might take it for $700. It'll sit and sit. Then they'll reduce it. Then the market's going down. So where do I see? There's always variables. If a property is in excellent condition, it's going to always sell at a premium in our marketplace because we are in a more professional marketplace. People don't want to do repairs. It's not like a blue collar neighborhood, cops and firemen and plumbers that can fix their house up. So a premium house will always sell for much more. Yeah, it's a pain to get contractors. Costs are so expensive. So if you have a really nice house, so where do I think the prices are going to vary? I'm hearing as much as 20%. I don't think in our marketplace as much as 20%. I think prices will probably tweak, depending on the property, 5, 10, 15%.
20% from the top or from where we are now?
Yeah, from the top, from the peak. Yeah, if it's sold, it could be 20%. But I don't even think it will be that much on most properties. There's going to be an adjustment. I think it's going to be more typically in that 5, where it is now, or to that 5%. There's other reports that say real estate will continue to go up. Remember, real estate is local and it's different things. In a softer market, the neighborhoods contract. In an expanding market, they expand. In a really strong market, people will buy anything. In a not a strong market, people want premium, like perfect condition. So there's many variables. No one answer fits it all. What we will see, what I am loving about, there's 2 things about this. I've had 2 nasty downturns in my career. And one was the 8 to 12, 08 to 12. And that was bad. And the worst one was that 89, 90 to 96. That values went down in the country 20, 30, 40, 50%.
That's 6 or 7 years.
That was a long time. Yes.
That's a long.
It was, if I sold something in 88, it went down to 350 by 92. Say I sold it for 650 in 88. It went down to 350 by 92, 93. And it didn't get back up to 650 in property until 97 or 98.
Wow. That's
before we recovered.
Why wouldn't we do that again?
Because what happened then, remember, we had high interest rates right then. We were doing 10, 11% interest, 10, 11% interest rates. And you had, it was hard to borrow money. Remember the savings and loan bailout. There were no jobs. Jobs were very hard. Today, we have unbelievable, right now, we basically have 100% employment. It's 3.5% of the population is unemployed, and that's like the 3.5 that really doesn't want a job. Because they say once you're down to about 3.5, you can get a job. If you want a job today, so back then, it was very hard to find a job. Very hard to find a job. In 08, remember, if you remember, they were laying people off. People were losing their jobs. I remember feeling so bad for so many young people.
Yeah.
And that was a bad time, and inventory grew. So right now we have low unemployment. We have low inventory. The inventory is not growing. And I don't anticipate it to grow, Ian, much, because I'm not going to sell my house today. If I bought it 3 years ago and I have a 2.6% or 2.9 or 3% interest rate, like, I'm not going to sell that house until I really have to, because I don't want to go in and get a 7% interest rate or 7.5% interest rate. That's double.
It's
Right?
such an odd imbalance to have low supply and low demand at the same time. That's
It's
almost impossible, almost.
that's why I believe this is going to be, it's a temporary thing. Do I think we'll ever see interest rates at 3%? No, we
No.
probably shouldn't, Ian. That
Mhm.
that's again, to me, that's like buying gas at 30 cents a gallon. Before inflation back in the 70s, gas was 30 cents a gallon. And then we had inflation, and that next year it went up to $1 a gallon. It killed the economy. It killed the economy. Interest rates have been artificially low. What they should have done, they should have graduated. They should have made them go to 4, 4.5, 4 3/4. It should have gone over a 2-year period. What am I? Yeah, I'm not a comment. So the bottom line, if my kid, and this is what people say to me, well, I wouldn't buy, I'm going to wait. Ian, what are you going to wait for? Oh, are rents going up? Absolutely. So why don't you rent for another year? And will interest rates be up next year? Probably. Maybe not. Maybe about the same. Also, if it's in the suburbs, they're anticipating at least a 3 to 5% appreciation, and there will be homes in the city that do go up 3 to 5%. But what I would tell you is, if you don't buy, you'll be losing ground. The big thing we're getting today is that the 10-1 arm. People are getting a adjustable rate for 10 years. So I still tell people to buy, because in 5 years, owning a piece of real estate is much better than paying rent. And I tell people, if you don't want to buy, you can rent from me. I'll buy the investment property. You can rent from me. I'll be your landlord. Like that's how sarcastic I meaning. Like, well, I'm going to wait. You can never time the market. You get in the market, and you get in what you can afford. Well, I can't afford the house that I wanted. That's okay. I wanted to be in Society Hill, my first house. I ended up in South Philly. I got a smaller house. So that's
Sure.
that's what you have to do today.
So we have some adjusting obviously going on with mentality of buyers, mentality of sellers. Like you said, in a year from now, where people were window shopping, Society Hill when they should have been shopping in, South Philly, I think that'll become, they won't remember that so clearly. Right now, it's still fresh to them, right? They were just over there, and now you're making me go over here. In a year from now, that'll all shift mentally.
That is absolutely, that's what I said. It just happened so fast. That is absolutely correct. And it's like, oh, I should have bought 2 months ago.
Yeah, they coulda, shoulda, wouldas, right?
I should
Yeah.
have sold 2 months ago. Or like, you know what? I should have just kicked the extra point and just trying to get the 2 points. Like you shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like you said, absolutely, that's the problem. It's so fresh in everybody's mind. And also, Ian, it's the realtors. Many realtors have been in the market these last 3, 4, 5 years have been great years. Easy.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife last night, it was 7:40. I'm on the phone with the seller. And I'm like, the tough times are back. Even Mike McCann, the real estate man, I'm not selling my stuff right. My sellers have false expectations. So I have to work them and work them and work them and let them know. And be brutally honest that, you know what, we need to do this work, or we need to drop the price, or like what's going on. So they start to blame, the agent. So what agents don't realize is that it's going to be, you have to learn your scripts. You're going to have to carry listings a lot longer. You're going to have to be the confidence builder for buyers. Like buyers will be like, I'm not going to buy. My friend bought a house at this, and I'm sorry. You know what, Ian, right now, I know rates are higher, but if you're going to be in that house 5, 7 years, it doesn't matter. Get in. It will go up in value. It's proven over the history of America that if you own a home, the average person that rents, their net worth, and don't hold me exactly, but their net worth is about $2,400. The average person that owns, their net worth is like $240,000. So over time, owning in America, owning a home is one of the greatest wealth sources that you'll have. So get in. The sooner you get in, the better.
Sure. Again, it's a vehicle for people that, when they don't have like intimate investment vehicles, that is your investment vehicle. Like
yes.
It's your home, but it's also your investment vehicle.
Yeah, it's an investment vehicle, and it's pride. I mean, I remember buying my first $40,000 house with paneling and drop ceilings in South Philly. Like I couldn't believe I owned a home. So you gotta get in. We fixed it up. I still own that home today, 35 years later. It's worth $300,000+ now, and it's not much different because I've had 3 tenants over 30 some years in that house. I kept that and bought another one.
It's sentimental. That thing's never being sold. You're going to pass that down to your kids, and you're not allowed to sell that house, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's but the pride. So that's what I tell people. There's the tax benefits which agents and people don't realize. I can write off that income, all the interest debt, and I can write off the taxes. Comes right off of my audit, right off of my pay. So it's taken right out of my ordinary income. So that saves me a couple $100 a month. If the values go up 2% and it's a $300,000 house, that's $6,000. I'm going to save probably $300 a month in tax benefits. Then, as I fix the house up, it will improve the value. So, and then I own a home. So there's multiple reasons, and 7% is nothing. Again, before my time, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Before my time, people were paying 17, 18, 19, up to 21% interest.
Hard money's a discount at that number, so that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, let me ask this then: which of the cycles you've seen does this feel the most like? Like, what is it? What does it feel like?
It's funny. None of the above.
Okay.
And a little bit of a few of them. So this is really uncharted waters. So, high interest rates. They're high interest rate, but historically, they're really low. Compared to the last 40 years, the interest rates are still low. But compared to the last 10 years, they're high. So that's weird, right? Mm-hmm. 2, appreciation. That was going up 10, 20, 30%, right? That's not going to happen now. It could, again, there's going to be an adjustment, and then you're going to probably see the normal 4 or 5% appreciation. So we're not going to have a rampant so where our price is going to be, it could be 4 or 5% down. It could go 4 or 5% up. The unemployment's low. So really, this feels like to me getting the uncertainty out of the environment. So I don't think so. 9/11. Well, let me back up. Stock market crash. I think it was 99. Or it was 99.
2000.
That hurt the market for 6 months to a year. The dot-com boom happened in like 2000. That hurt the market for 6 months or a year. 9/11 came. That hurt the market for a year and a half or so. And then all these incentives that sparked the economy. And then we had
I had that COVID flash feel to it.
Yeah. Honestly, COVID is the best thing ever in the history for real estate, believe it or not.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
The first 3 months I thought that was the end of the world.
Right.
I had never stayed home in my life, Ian, right? We're home.
I remember we did our interview with you in your backyard. I was like, oh man, if Mike McCann's in his backyard right now, what is going on in this world? Yeah.
Exactly.
No motorcycle, nothing.
Yeah. And then as soon as it let down, the market picked up, and we had the best month in the history of my career. And these last 2.5 years were. So, but there's changes from COVID, and now people can live anywhere. So like Philly, we have been growing in population for the last, dozen years. We lost population now because COVID changed the world. The cities now, there's more issues going on with the crime. There's more issues going on with the businesses that have left the cities because you don't have the lifestyle. So I have had the biggest effect with COVID has been the people my age that moved into the city from the suburbs or from the main line or somewhere for lifestyle, kind of lost their lifestyle. because they couldn't go to the theaters and the restaurants.
Mm.
And it's coming back now, and I can't wait for it to come back more and more. But the grime on the streets is dirtier than it was pre-COVID. The motorcycles racing all around and the carjacking. So there's issues. So I have had a lot of people, and I'm being brutally honest, I can't be any other way, is I've had a lot of people that can move with their money, and they've moved to Florida. They've moved to North Carolina. They've moved they moved down the shore. And some are moving out to the suburbs. And I've had some other millennials that are like, you know what? I don't feel safe in the city anymore. I'm moving to the suburbs. I was going to move for 5 years, and I am. So the city's been more affected from the effects of COVID and stuff than the burbs. People want now more ground, more land. And it's funny, for a little bit we were seeing people, and I got a call from the New York Times or one of those papers, that like all these people are moving way out, not even the suburbs, to the country or wherever that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Now I'm hearing some of those people are like moving back, like, you know what, like I was an overreaction. I'm going to come back.
Well, so I'm a big country. I like country, so I'm not. But if you haven't lived out there for a period of time, you start to go, oh man, Amazon doesn't get here quite as fast as I like, or the cell. I got to go down the road to get the cell service. So the conveniences start to add up. So that reaction you're talking about, I think, is important. But I also think that COVID changed the world in the way that everybody goes, whoa, I don't really have to be here 9 to 5 in this office. And when people say that and realize, like, they didn't realize, they thought it beforehand, right? But then when they were put in the face of like, I don't want to go back to the office 5 days a week, I don't know if we're ever going to change back to that, which will always affect the commercial industry then. I wonder, what is the commercial world looking like right now? Because who needs 10,000 square feet of commercial space unless you're Comcast, maybe, I don't know. But mom and pop shops are, all of Hard Money Bankers operates. I mean, we have an office in Maryland, but like, we don't need it. We all operate remotely. You're in your office because you like to go places, but you don't have to be in your office.
It's definitely, listen, it's definitely changed. And all I have to say is thank God for Zoom during COVID. Could you imagine if this had happened 10 years earlier and we didn't have Zoom? I mean, so Zoom kept us
in the dark ages.
The dark age. So, but it definitely changed the world, and it's funny. You can do everything from Zoom pretty much. We wanted everybody back in. We give them 1 day at home, where they flex the flex day. I have noticed that the energy is so much better when people are coming back in.
That's true.
You don't need people, but one of the things we're finding out from COVID, and I'm no psychiatrist, but is a lot of people have got more sad or more depressed because they're more by themselves. It's funny, right? I could be in my backyard, taking my hot tub, doing my push-ups, doing Zoom all day. But when I walk into my office, like we had we call it Tuesday training today, and there's 30, 40, 50 people in here. I am like, how you doing? Like, it's unbelievable. So
there's a physical energy exchange that it's not tangible or even probably explained very much in science right now, but there is a physical energy exchange that, yeah, I agree with what you're saying there.
But now you can, and it is great to be able to go. We have one assistant who is in Florida. You know what I mean? Like, so we do have our regional manager for Cal, go to Florida. Like, he comes up here every couple weeks. So you can, things that we never dreamed possible, you could do. Technically, you're right. I could run my brokerage, come up, and live in Florida or the island that my wife wants me to go to. But we're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. But, Turks and Caicos. She's like, I'm like, but you could do it anywhere. I agree. So it's changed it. The office space. So during COVID, I opened up a brokerage on the main line during COVID. I opened up McCann Commercial during COVID.
I saw that. You were the most busy guy. The real estate market was going like this, and Mike McCann was going like this. I'm like, every time I turn, there's something else going on. So, talk about your expansions real quick. There was a lot going on. Still is.
So we did. We ran into somebody and came up, so we started McCann Commercial, and it's commercial. I sell investment properties, smaller, houses and apartment buildings and rehabs. But this is real commercial where office leasing and like all that stuff. We met this person who reminded me of me and Jim, and just great energy, smart. in the commercial world. So we started this commercial thing, and that's really growing. That's really growing big. And I never knew about that world because it's totally different. It's like leasing space. So yes, there's less leasing space, but there's great opportunities. You know, Philly is going to rebound. That's what I tell everybody. You know, Philly is right now. A lot of people are so negative with the crime, but Philly will rebound.
That's so short term to think. Think of every city. Every city is like once upon a time, New York was this dangerous place that you couldn't go. You get a new governor, you get a few bucks in the police force, and all of a sudden, like a light switch, values go up. So like, I've been hearing that too. I'm like, people really shouldn't worry that much about that. I mean, it sucks. It's terrible to have those statistics, but like, that is a 5-year fix, and it's going to happen. You're going to look back and go, remember when it was bad crime, and then it's over. Right.
Exactly. And when I talked about that 89 to 96, New York was on the verge of bankruptcy. The crime, nobody was in Manhattan.
Right.
Philly. So it will come around. But so the commercial things have just changed, but there's a lot of activity. The other thing about COVID is it created a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, because people are learning to do stuff on themselves, which is what you are, and which I really love. Entrepreneurs, not working for the man, you know, and doing that. Then we in a downtime. So what's going to happen in real estate is, as the realtors who have to really work or know what they're doing now, with the slowness that will start to leave the business, the agents that invest in it, and all the things I'm doing with my team and with myself and with my brokerage is called Shift, is growing to take market share as people leave the business, and as you really need skill. Before you just got the listing and
it's such a smart approach.
Now you need skill. And every shift, Ian, I might have adjusted for 6 months or a year, and then my business base and my income just grew. So
I'm just gonna say what it is: blood on the streets, and that's the time to buy. And when you say buy, but you're taking market share, and that's genius, right? Everybody's scared. You've been here, you've done this this is your 5th go. This is the time that we take. This is the time that we get the skilled agents. This is how we bring them in, and we pick up what's on the ground that people just know. Because I've been saying this on a prior couple interviews that we've been doing, which is like, there's still people that need to sell their house. The difference is the Mike McCanns are still here in business to pick up the phone. There isn't like before, it was so diluted. All you had to do was show up and make $300,000, right? Now it's like, because you have that skill set, there's a barrier to entry, which is now lower because people don't have the grit to stick in it. And those calls still will come in. It's just your skilled agents now have to handle them. So then what you're saying is you pick up the market share of all that dilution that was out there. And then what's going to happen in 2 years or 3 years, Mike McCann's going to have tripled his business, or have, brokerage here. Everybody's going to be like, man, how did he do it? How did he do it? And you're like, I've been doing this for 5. Every time there's, you expand, just like the neighborhoods. You have a small neighborhood when it's softening, and an expanding neighborhood when it's not. The difference is you hold your ground. And that's what you've been doing over many, many years, is like, just because everybody else shrinks, you might shrink just a little. And then you expand and shrink just a little. And that, if anybody's watching this and anybody's got the skill set, and I'm an abundance guy, that's the best piece of advice that you could give to anybody right now that's trying to figure out how to survive in this business, is don't run away from what's happening right now. Like, this is the time to expand your share. I think that's really smart.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah.
People around you, both educationally and monetarily. So, that's the other thing, is when everybody's cutting back, getting rid of what's not been, really analyzing what's working, what's not working, and investing more in what is working. So everybody cuts back in a downtime. I actually will increase my spend and increase my budget, and increase my education and focus. And it's so right. So people leave. You nailed it right on the head, Ian. And it's from people that leave the business, and it's from people that don't know how to do the business. So it was so bad back at that one bad era. You didn't even want to be the second agent. You wanted to be the third agent. But I'm telling all the agents right now, if you want to grow your business, you go after the withdrawn and expired listings. Because those people thought it was going to sell like that, and there's going to be more of them. The agent wasn't brutally honest to them, or didn't know what to do to get it sold in today's market. And that will be an opportunity in 3 and 6 months from now.
I mean, this is where you thrive, because the reality was, you knew that as things were going up, there was no real difference between you and somebody else, because you didn't have to apply your skill set. Now you're like, okay, bring it, because my skill set is where the value is now, right? Because when you're at the top, it was like it didn't matter if you were a good agent or not a good agent. It was just
everybody was a
show up.
superstar. Now,
Everybody was everybody was a superstar.
I got 10 offers. I got 20 offers.
Yeah, and bragging about waiving inspections and stuff, and it's like, it was too much. Like I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, look, it is not easy to make $300,000, and if it is easy to make $300,000, you're sitting on a bubble. Period. Like the skill set does not match the what's going on, but the differentiation between a great agent and not a great agent at the top was not seen, but now it will be seen, because the great agents come out and make these crazy skilled moves when everybody's like running away and everybody's scared and everybody's, oh, real estate sucks, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, probably I remember you saying this in the early 90s. Nobody even wanted to use the word real estate. It was a disgusting word. You didn't even want to be around it. And here's Mike McCann, building up a business, doing all these things, and next thing you know, you're one of the top agents in the nation, and that wasn't a mistake. So I think it's awesome what you're doing, and I hope everybody listened long enough on this. There's a lot of viewers watching right now, but hopefully they listen to the end there, because everybody wonders what Mike McCann does at a time like this. You just heard it. That's what he's doing. So
it's crazy, and I'll let you go with this, but I've been doing it 36 years. I've never had more fun in my life than these last couple of years, and where we're going. And real estate's the greatest business to me in the history of the world, and you're a part of. There's so many different vehicles in real estate.
Yeah,
but it's constantly going. But I do think that it's getting more professional. It will get more professional, and I'm all for that. And I just love real estate, and I love, we opened up this market center on the main line. There was 90 agents. We're like 305 now. Like, the energy here is growing. So now, unlike before, I'm doing the city and the suburbs. And then now we're even doing some stuff down the shore. That's what Zoom did. That's what this COVID stuff did. It's opened up borders, so it's exciting.
That's awesome, man. I love having you on. Your insight is incredibly valuable. A bunch of people will see this now, and a bunch of people will see this in a couple of weeks. So anybody that is watching, Mike's email has been scrolling across the bottom. If you want to reach out to Mike, he is exceptionally responsive. Responds to not a myth. He does respond to every single email that he gets. If you want to test it, go ahead. Did you want to leave a number, Mike, or do you want to just leave the email? It's up to you.
Sure. Email's best, or text 215-778-0901. Mike McCann with Keller Williams Philly and Keller Williams Main Line in Suburban Square, and McCann Commercial, and we still other things we'll be doing too.
Yeah, we'll just bring a list up next time. Just a list of everything you're doing.
We're having fun with real estate. So we're growing agents, and we're growing teams, and we're growing our businesses, and we're building wealth for our clients and our agents. And there's so many opportunities in real estate, and you know that. So and we love fixing up neighborhoods and fixing up houses and new construction. Do a lot of that, investment properties. So anyway, always good to see you.
Thanks, Mike. All right, I'm going to cut it off.
Have a great one. Okay.
You got it.
Thank you, man.